What if I told you that there is a group of African leaders who have chosen to defy Western influence and the narratives perpetuated by their media? In a world where Western powers often dominate the global stage, these leaders have taken a different path, prioritizing the interests and well-being of their own countries above all else. Welcome to our channel, where today we delve into the intriguing realm of African leaders who refuse to entertain Western countries and their media. Africa, with its diverse nations and rich history, has long been a subject of fascination and, at times, misconception in the eyes of the Western world. But what happens when African leaders decide to break free from the molds that have been cast upon them? They challenge the narrative, question the assumptions, and forge their own paths towards progress and self-determination. In this video, we will explore the stories of African leaders who have made a conscious choice to reject the expectations imposed by Western countries and their media. These leaders have embraced a different vision, one that centers on sovereignty, independence, and the pursuit of African solutions for African challenges. Join us as we uncover the historical context that shapes these leaders' decisions and understand the motivations behind their defiance. We will highlight their efforts to prioritize their nation's interests, challenge Western media narratives, and implement innovative solutions to address their country's unique challenges. 1. Nana Akufo-Addo, President of Ghana. He has been a vocal critic of Western interference in African affairs. In 2019, he refused to sign a joint communique with the European Union that condemned the government of Sudan for human rights abuses. He also criticized the United States for its decision to withdraw from the International Criminal Court. President Akufo-Addo has been a vocal critic of Western pressure to legalize same-sex marriage in Ghana. In 2018, he said that same-sex marriage is not part of our culture and that it would never be legalized in my time as president. He has also said that he is not persuaded by the arguments of Western countries that same-sex marriage is a human right. In 2021, Akufo-Addo reiterated his opposition to same-sex marriage in his speech at the opening of the second Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Ghana. He said that same-sex marriage will never be legalized in Ghana, and that I will not be pressured into changing my position on this issue. Akufo-Addo's defiance of the West has earned him praise from some African leaders and analysts. However, it has also drawn criticism from others, who argue that he is putting Ghana's interests at risk. Only time will tell whether Akufo-Addo's defiance will pay off in the long run. 2. Felix Tshisekedi, President of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Tshisekedi has been a vocal critic of Western interference in the DRC. He has accused Western countries of supporting Kabila's stay in power and of trying to undermine his own election. He has also been critical of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, arguing that their policies have hurt the Congolese people. Tshisekedi has also been criticized by some Western countries for his close ties to China. China has become a major investor in the DRC in recent years, and Tshisekedi has been accused of being too accommodating to Chinese interests. He has refused to sign a number of agreements with France that would have given France more control over the DRC's economy and natural resources. For example, he refused to sign a new mining agreement that would have given France a 30% stake in all new mining projects in the DRC. He has also criticized France's role in the DRC's past, including its support for the longtime dictator Mobutu Sese Seko. In a speech in 2019, Tshisekedi said that France had looted the DRC's resources for decades. Tshisekedi has also sought to strengthen ties with other countries, such as China and the United States, in order to reduce the DRC's dependence on France. In 2019, he visited China and signed a number of agreements with the Chinese government. Tshisekedi's defiance of French dominance has not been without its challenges. France has been critical of Tshisekedi's policies, and there have been reports that France has been trying to undermine his government. However, Tshisekedi has shown that he is not afraid to stand up to France, and he has vowed to continue to pursue an independent foreign policy for the DRC. If you are still watching this video, it means you love it. Why not take a second and hit the like button? Have you done that? Let's move on. 3. Naledi Pander, South Africa. Naledi Pander, the South African Minister of Foreign Affairs, has been a vocal critic of Western countries' sanctions against Russia. In March 2022, she defied Western pressure by attending a meeting of the non-aligned movement in India, which was also attended by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Pander's decision to attend the meeting was seen as a sign of South Africa's willingness to stand up to Western powers and pursue its own independent foreign policy. In a speech at the meeting, Pander criticized the Western sanctions against Russia, saying that they were unilateral and have had a devastating impact on the people of Russia. She also called for a negotiated settlement to the conflict in Ukraine. Pander's defiance of Western pressure has been praised by some and criticized by others. Her supporters argue that she is standing up for South Africa's national interests and its right to pursue an independent foreign policy. Her critics argue that she is appeasing Russia and that her actions are undermining the international efforts to isolate Russia. It remains to be seen whether Pander's defiance of Western pressure will have a lasting impact. However, her actions have certainly made her a more prominent figure on the international stage. In addition to her defiance of Western pressure on Russia, Pander has also been critical of the West's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a speech in April 2021, she accused Western countries of vaccine nationalism and said that they were hoarding vaccines at the expense of developing countries. Pander's criticism of the West has won her some support in Africa, where many countries are frustrated with the slow pace of vaccine delivery. However, it has also drawn criticism from some Western observers, who accuse her of being a puppet of China. 4. Julius Malema of South Africa. Julius Malema is a South African politician who is the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF. He is a controversial figure who has been outspoken in his criticism of the West, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom. Malema has accused the West of colonialism, imperialism, and neocolonialism. He has also criticized the West's role in the global economy, arguing that it is designed to keep developing countries poor. Malema's stance against the West has won him support among some South Africans who feel that the country has not benefited enough from its transition to democracy. However, his views have also been criticized by others who believe that he is too extreme and that his rhetoric is alienating potential allies. In 2010, Malema was expelled from the African National Congress, ANC, the ruling party in South Africa, for his controversial statements, in which he said that the ANC was a white man's party and that it was time for black people to take back their country. This statement was seen as a direct challenge to the ANC's leadership and to the country's political order. It also sparked a wave of protests and violence in South Africa. The ANC's disciplinary committee found Malema guilty of sowing divisions and bringing the party into disrepute. He then formed the EFF, which quickly became a rising force in South African politics. The EFF has been critical of the ANC's economic policies, which it says have benefited the wealthy at the expense of the poor. The party has also called for the nationalization of mines and banks, and for the expropriation of land without compensation. Malema's stance against the West has been consistent with the EFF's overall political platform. The party has called for a new international order that would be based on the principles of equality, justice, and self-determination. The EFF's criticism of the West has been met with mixed reactions. Some have welcomed the party's challenge to the status quo, while others have accused it of being anti-Western and isolationist. Only time will tell what the long-term impact of the EFF's stance against the West will be. However, the party's rise to prominence has certainly made South Africa a more vocal critic of the West on the international stage. 5. Hage Geingob, President of Namibia. Geingob's defiance of the West has been met with mixed reactions. Some have praised him for standing up for Namibia's interests, while others have criticized him for being too close to China. In 2019, he refused to join Western countries in imposing sanctions on Venezuela. Geingob said that he did not believe that sanctions would be effective in resolving the crisis in Venezuela and that they would only hurt the people of the country. In 2020, he criticized the West for its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Geingob said that the West had been slow to respond to the pandemic and that its focus on individual countries had undermined the global effort to contain the virus. In 2022, he refused to condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Geingob said that he understood the reasons for Russia's actions and that he did not believe that the West was doing enough to address the security concerns of Russia and other countries in the region. In addition to the above, Geingob has also been critical of the West's role in the global economy, arguing that it is designed to keep developing countries poor. He has called for a new international order that would be based on the principles of equality, justice, and self-determination. Geingob's stance against the West has been consistent with Namibia's overall political platform. The country has a long history of resisting Western domination, and Geingob's government has continued this tradition. Only time will tell what the long-term impact of Geingob's stance against the West will be. However, his actions have certainly made Namibia a more vocal critic of the West on the international stage. 6. Assimi Goita, interim president of Mali. Goita's defiance of the West has been motivated by a number of factors. First, he has argued that the West has not done enough to help Mali in its fight against terrorism. Second, he has accused the West of interfering in Mali's internal affairs. Finally, he has apparently been influenced by Russia's willingness to provide military assistance without any strings attached. Assimi Goita's most defying act against the West was his decision to sign a deal with the Russian mercenary group Wagner to provide military assistance to Mali. This deal was condemned by the West, who accused Russia of using Wagner to prop up authoritarian regimes. The deal with Wagner was seen as a major setback for Western efforts to stabilize Mali and counter the threat of terrorism in the region. The West had been providing military assistance to Mali for years, but Goita's decision to turn to Wagner was seen as a sign that he was no longer interested in cooperating with the West. The deal with Wagner also raised concerns about the future of democracy in Mali. Wagner is known for its close ties to the Russian government, and its presence in Mali could be seen as a way for Russia to exert influence over the country's political affairs. He also caused the postponement of elections. Goita has also defied Western calls to hold elections in Mali. In September 2021, he announced that the elections would be postponed until 2023. This decision was met with widespread criticism from the West, who accused Goita of trying to cling to power. In response to Goita's defiance, the West has imposed sanctions on Mali. In December 2021, the European Union imposed sanctions on Goita and other members of the junta. The United States also imposed sanctions on Goita in January 2022. It remains to be seen whether Goita will be able to maintain his defiance of the West in the long term. The sanctions imposed by the West are likely to have a significant impact on Mali's economy, and they could eventually force Goita to make concessions. However, it is also possible that Goita will be able to weather the storm and continue to rule Mali without Western support. As we conclude this exploration into African leaders who defy Western influence and the narratives portrayed by their media, we find ourselves confronted with a nuanced and complex landscape. The stories we have uncovered demonstrate a deep-rooted commitment to sovereignty, independence, and the pursuit of African progress on their own terms. Throughout history, Africa has been subjected to various forms of external influence and exploitation, shaping the continent's trajectory in significant ways. However, the leaders we have discussed in this video have chosen to break free from these chains, asserting their nation's right to self-determination and challenging the status quo. It is important to recognize that the actions of these leaders are not driven by a rejection of collaboration or international cooperation. Rather, they prioritize their country's interests and actively seek partnerships based on mutual respect and shared benefits. They believe in African solutions for African challenges, harnessing their unique resources, talents, and cultures to pave the way for sustainable development. From investing in infrastructure development to promoting education and healthcare, African leaders are fostering an environment that empowers their citizens and cultivates indigenous innovation. They understand that true progress cannot be achieved by merely adhering to Western models or relying on external aid. Instead, they are forging their own paths and shaping their destinies. These leaders are not dismissing the world or isolating themselves from global affairs. They are demanding a fair and balanced representation of their nations, challenging the negative stereotypes perpetuated by Western media. They seek to reshape the narrative surrounding Africa, highlighting its beauty, resilience, and immense potential. It is crucial to acknowledge the overwhelming support these leaders receive from their citizens. Many Africans see their defiance as a necessary step towards genuine independence, self-sufficiency, and the realization of their continent's true potential. By breaking away from the expectations of Western countries, these leaders are fostering a renewed sense of pride, identity, and collective empowerment among their people. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We value your comments and perspectives, so please share your thoughts below. Together, let's celebrate the determination and resilience of African leaders as they continue to shape a brighter future for their nations and the continent as a whole.